Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. We're just going to have a period of 10 seconds, so just remember, headlock gate.
Yes. Sorry.
There you go. We're done. Let's hope no other people have been headlocked in the 2 years since the heinous crime. Everton in action tomorrow, John, but there was some good news today. I mean...
Expected news.
Yeah, well, something that's been peddled many times on here and in other places as well, with people who do Everton stuff, is that there was no issue with PSR, despite people trying to fabricate it or try to, blag it to get themselves back on TalkSport for 10 minutes, Mr. Borson. And amongst others, there was never any issues. It was sorted out in June, like we said it was, and it's been done today. And maybe more surprising is they said nobody's getting done, which has got a lot of people's backs up.
That's it?
Well,
because of Leicester.
Leicester were
that's a
very
jurisdiction
close.
issue, isn't it?
Newcastle were reportedly very close. Chelsea were reportedly very close. Everton were nowhere near it. So
we could go through those one at a time, right?
Yeah.
And if you do it right to left, i.e. Chelsea,
Yeah.
The members
they play the blind to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Been done by UEFA, but the Premier League.
Exactly right, yeah. Well, they've still got an outstanding thing to be dealt with the Premier League, which is not really PSR, is it, right? It's about telling lies and fraud as much as anything else.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And again, UEFA dealt with that yonks ago. Every time it gets raised, I stick out my Substack article again, and I wrote it like last August or earlier, whenever it was. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle close, and they've obviously had to watch the pennies, and they're the if you like, the victims of the rules stop you from spending all the money your owners have got. Chelsea played a blinder with, we've got bits of assets here, there and everywhere, which we can sell to ourselves and make everything look fine, which just shows how crap the rules are. The Everton one, I checked when we did our video with Colin Brown, the audit partner from Deloitte, who basically said, when we did the interview with him from Australia, back in April, that was last year, April, when he said they're making it up as they go along, they don't know what they're doing. And so we've been saying ever since, not a problem. But of course, media get briefed, or media just want to keep it rolling because it provides people readerships, I suppose, And we briefly had a second transfer window, didn't we? An extra transfer window last year, while people scrambled around to try and get compliant. And now we'll probably have a normal January where not a lot happens. People will think there's some legacy. They'll still say, "Oh, Everton, what about this season or this financial year?"
It's just also nonsense.
I mean, I think part of the challenge there, though, is that all you've got to go on is the publicly stated accounts and your interpretation of what you think might have happened. Until the accounts are seen by everybody, then people will have some concerns, I think. And maybe now that the Premier League have done their bit, Everton will do their bit, and let people like me who are shareholders and then the wider fan base see what the financials look like at the end of June last year. And maybe you can go back to normal in future years and let them see them in the same year that the year closes, rather than, whatever it is now, 7-8 months later. 6-7 months later, isn't it, really? But yes, and again, there's a couple of ways that Everton have been compliant. One would clearly be we've tightened our belts. And the overhang, which is the one that people were concerned about, was this treatment of interest, wasn't it? And again, we've talked on the channel, literally every time it's come up since Colin told us they don't know what they're doing, that if they pursue this, the Premier League, they should lose. Because Everton have been following international best practice, and it's just got forgotten. It literally has just got forgotten. It's like, don't mention it, don't mention it. Then the Leicester thing, of course, is they need an adjudication on the jurisdiction, and it appears that that's in progress, because, of course, Leicester said we can't be punished by the Premier League because we weren't in the Premier League, and they said to the Football League, we can't be punished by you because we weren't in your league either. So they were in no man's land, and that is total screw up by the Premier League. Total screw up, and how Masters is still in a job remains to be seen.
Is there any course for Everton maybe looking at legal action and saying, well, hang on, because I imagine the fella at Forest who's mad as a box of frogs will be looking at this going, hang on a sec, what's happening here? How come we were done with Everton, yet Leicester, who everyone of note said yesterday were getting 6 points taken, haven't breached? And I'm not advocating for that, because I didn't advocate for points taken when Everton got it.
Right,
and Forest have never been. I think it's nonsense.
Yeah.
I think there's other punishments that should be in place if you're going to have that. But you would feel aggrieved if you were Everton and Nottingham Forest, that despite all the noise and warranted concerns, that you two are the only clubs who've ever done it. It's back to the old Nias and what was his name at West Ham? The Amadel.
Yeah.
Lanzini.
Sure?
Or Lanzini. Lanzini, the only two who were ever done.
Is it? Yeah.
No, I was thinking Lazarus after that. Lanzini. They were the only ones ever done for that.
I mean, there's a couple of things here. One is absolutely Everton are peeved. Were peeved. And certainly when it come to voting for certain things, we voted on the basis of we've been punished, why shouldn't others?
Yeah.
Notwithstanding that, you know, the if you like, the creative accounting Chelsea have done has been voted on more than once, and all the clubs voted in majority to basically to keep rules the way they are, thus allowing Chelsea to do what they've done. Legal action, no, I'm not an advocate of legal action in the sense that it was crystal clear, particularly for IC1, that Everton breached the rules, right? We tripped over ourselves. We weren't efficient in how we accounted for the stadium and all those sorts of things. And that meant we were over, right? And as soon as they chose to throw the kitchen sink at us with a excessively punitive points deduction, they set themselves on a course of action, they being the Premier League, which they've struggled ever since to get out from under, you know. And of course, Nottingham Forest, second down the track, got punished, but way less than we did, you know. And then, of course, we went down the track again and got then another less one. And in that moment, there was no appetite to do it again, was there? And therefore, everyone who followed were okay. Had we, as a football club, perhaps treated some of these things differently, we're not first down the track, maybe we'd be like some of these other clubs who, in quotes, got away with it, got a bit close to the wind, right, and then got away with it. But it all returns again in August, doesn't it, when if they do outline how squad ratios are going to work in the Premier League sense. We know how it works for UEFA, but that at least does what you and many of us agree with, which is the punishments are not sporting ones per se, not until you've breached really big. It's initially just fines and things, and if they copy that, they being the Premier League, then maybe it'll go back to the way it was before we got done the first time, which is it's there in the background, but it very rarely gets used. So
it is mad, isn't it?
It is mad, but it's all the angst, and again, like everything else, you know, the Peterborough game being at stupid kick-off time, and you know the chief exec of the FA writing to the Shareholders Association who challenged them on it, and he came back with all the reasons and all the people that he'd spoken to before that game was set at the time it was set, and not once did he mention fans. Yeah. You know, and that's what the Premier League have done. They you know, it's all well and good for, you know, almost like, you know, noble people like, you know, Henry Winter to pop up when there's Super League saying don't punish the fans. But what crap have Everton fans in particular, and then Forest fans, gone through over the last couple of years when those in authority haven't taken a blind bit of notice of what the impact is. And as someone tweeted earlier on, which I saw, I'm sorry, mate, if you're watching, and I can't remember who it was, you know, we get punished twice, Forest get punished once, and then magically no one's breached, which is the way it used to be, isn't it? And yet we all know there's iffy stuff going on, particularly at Chelsea, because UEFA punished them, you know, and the Premier League are still investigating. So I think it's perhaps fair to say, if not to see here move along on our interest challenge, maybe it's not to see here move it along on Chelsea's paying people offshore and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's mad.
So
and they'd admitted that as well. That isn't just like That isn't just something that was levelled at them or accusations. This is stuff Chelsea literally admitted to.
Well, absolutely.
And we're fined by UEFA for
well,
it.
Absolutely. You know, the new owners called it out as soon as they got under the covers and saw what had gone on. They called it out. They told the FA. They told the Premier League. They told UEFA. UEFA had a look. Statute of limitations for them is shorter, but hey-ho. And they quickly punished them, albeit with a fine. And if you read my Substack, you'll see they kept money back, the purchasers of Chelsea, on the basis that there was an unforeseen liability. So they retained £100 million.
Wow.
Right? So a bit like you, when you buy something, you say, I'm going to keep it, or a builder or something, I'm going to keep a bit of money back.
Yeah, like
sure
contingency.
Contingency. So they're going to get a windfall of that money, presumably, in cash terms, if they think they're totally free, or they've known since day one that they're totally free in this country because of whatever deals were done around the sale and purchase of Chelsea Football Club because of sanctions and all that sort of stuff. So yes, to me, not a huge surprise, but there was always a little bit of doubt, wasn't there? Because until it's announced, you don't know. So it's done.
Interesting.
Roll on the next 2 weeks then while we're splurging the cash on loads of players. Yeah.
God, definitely.
Maybe.
Martin Davenport, who's a YouTube member, says, "Hi lads, do you think Dom will stay now up the Toffees?"
I hope not, as a person, because he's made it pretty damn clear that he doesn't want to be here. He wants a new challenge and all those sorts of things. Clearly, he wants substantially more money than we, or indeed Newcastle, were prepared to offer him. And if he rewrites history that it was all about we didn't want to play for Deitch, then I just hope that if we do end up giving him a new contract, it's on terms which are attractive to Everton, not attractive to him. Sorry, they should be attractive to him as well, otherwise he won't sign. But you know what I mean? We take the negotiation advantage of he's changed his mind, and make it more performance related. But let's see.
I think he'll go anyway.
Yeah, I do.
I think he's just on the journey.
It's a bit of a U-turn for him if he says.
Yeah, I think he wants to do something different. I have no problem with it.
No, I don't. I have no issue at all with any player.
I wouldn't. I'd have done it in the summer. I wouldn't apply now. We disagreed, me, you and Ped. But he'd have never started for me. Never in a million years. He'd have been given a deadline to sign it. If he was still here after the window'd shut, then I'd reintegrate him back in for now.
But we've had these chats before.
But he's here, and now his job is to score goals, unless he gets a move this month and we sell him and we replace.
Yeah.
But while he's here, he needs to start putting the ball in the back of the net.
And he'll get a much better contract, whichever country he wants to play in. Whether it's this country or Italy or whatever. If he's scoring goals for Everton.
Yeah.
Because the role he has doesn't matter how much is all round players. People just say, well, he hasn't scored for X games,
He's gone 16 games without a goal. He went 18 games without a goal last season. So maybe that's the new normal for him.
Yeah.
He's got to get his head up, get back out there and prove that it was the way we played.
Well, that's the
point. Rather than him.
Yeah, and that's the point. All the players have the opportunity to reset, don't they? And ultimately, better outcomes. People just naturally, so is the manager then, So that's what the new Broom allows. But of course, they've got a new, if you like, headmaster now as well, who won't suffer fools.
No, absolutely.
So they do have to perform, and the manager's press conference yesterday was brilliant, I thought, and he called out the key stakeholders of fans, players, and owners, and all of them have to do stuff. And he says, "Give me the tools, and I'll deliver the outcomes."
Definitely.
Go for it, Moisey.
Everton Toffees, a YouTube member, says, like the vid, Toffees help support the guys. The work and effort they put in is incredible. So the least we can do is like their posts. Come on. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
The numbers are going up.
The numbers are flying up, edging closer every day to the 100,000. Rod Ross says, I'm petty. I want Leicester to be dock points. We got done, why not them? And they threatened to sue us.
A very senior executive at Everton said that to me, not about Leicester per se, but exactly those words. We got done, why shouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Sophie says us and Forrest were guinea pigs for Masters and his cronies.
Didn't go well for them though, did it? in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. The Brass Monkey says, get Dom sold in January. Great for PSR and better than negativity out the door. We can only do it if we've got something coming in.
Yes.
You know, there's talk of Beto going. We'll see now whether or not David Moyes has a different opinion of Beto than what Sean Dyche did, or whether they just think we need better. And he did sort of hint at that yesterday. He did hint at getting people in who can score goals.
Elite ground, we need elite players.
Yeah. Well, he hinted at it even. He said, he sort of said, these have got the next couple of weeks to show me they can put the ball in it, otherwise we'll have to buy someone. So I know Everton are trying to bring players in as well, but we'll have to wait and see. Too Fat to Kayak says, good morning from the US. Great to see.
Where about in the
gaffer
US?
change.
Yeah.
Wayne R says,
East Coast, I guess.
I think ever. Like, you tell me when you've finished talking so I can read, because when we talk over each other, people just moan. Blue 96 on the super chat. Thank you very much. Says, who do you think realistic signings are this window? I mean, what, you don't have to name names, John, but what, in an ideal world for you this window, what positions do you think you'd like, would you be comfortable sort of, or what positions do you think Everton need to bring in this January? Clearly they're not going to bring 8 or 9 players in, but say it was 3, because that's what that I have said, that they're looking at 3 spots, and it's what we'd sort of heard October, November time, that's what they targeted. What would you be looking at with given the way the squad is right now?
Offensive positions with pace.
Would they?
Yeah.
All 3?
Yeah.
Would you, yeah? No, you're not worried about sort of a fullback, a left fullback?
Not really, no. I think...
See, I think Moyes needs that. I think he's...
Well...
But...
You know, it depends how much resources you have.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? You know, if we spend money or use slots up to get a more attack-minded left back, but that's to the detriment of someone who can actually score goals, yeah? You know, then I'd rather have 2 players of really good quality than 3 players that improve the team, if that makes sense, yeah? I think if you accept that, and again, it comes back to Patterson, really, how attack-minded we're going to be down the right. I don't think we can have 2 fullbacks who are an issue, if you like, yeah, in the sense of not getting particularly forward. You know, Ashley Young, if he's a starter, isn't going to get up and down as much as he could in the old days. And I actually think if you accept that one of your fullbacks isn't going to get up and down, then you might as well stick Ashley Young on the left. Yeah, he's got a little bit more about him than Mikolenko, and then that allows you to find out whether Patterson really can do it. But he's certainly an athlete. He's physical, you know, he's a big, tall lad and all that sort of stuff, and he can whip crosses in, and then you need people on the end of them. But it's whatever the date is today. There's only a few weeks of this window.
2 weeks left. Well, it goes to the 3rd of February.
Oh, does it? We'll call it 2 weeks.
It's 2.5 weeks to go. Yeah. So they have got to crack on with it, really.
They have, yeah. They're not in the pipe now. There's a potential that they're not going to happen.
Rod Ross says, like John always says, we need to give the manager everything we can for him to succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, what do you think of Toffee Blue 246? Do you not feel the transfers will come down more to David Moyes now, as Kevin Thelwell might not be here in the summer?
I have a real issue with this swinging around thing. I think...
That's right, I've asked you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this person has, yeah. If the football club is committed to having a director of football, then we have to let the director of football do the job, right?
Even if he's not going to be here.
I'm with you. If we think this director of football is going to go at the end of the season, then frankly, you stop listening to him.
Yeah.
Right, because he ain't going to be held accountable for any decisions that he makes. So you might as well let him go now. And I don't know whether we did this on camera or not. I almost said you could have a revision that says you go back to the manager does everything. He controls it all, so to speak. But that,
I'll be honest, I'm not happy with that.
Me neither. You know, I'm an advocate of director of football. So I think I do wonder at what point we decide as fans that actually Thelwell is history. And I guess we'll find out, first week in February.
Well, you're someone who's obviously been very, very good in the business market. That's your strong suit. You've done it for 40 years, whatever. Are you a little bit... Well, sorry, what's your gut feeling telling you with Kevin Thelwell? Simply that this is someone whose contract is up in June.
Mm.
There was a new contract rumoured in around October time for him.
Yeah.
Which he didn't sign. And then obviously the takeover and stuff, the Friedkin group wanted to assess, but they were doing due diligence for 12 weeks or 11 weeks before it went through and they had people in assessing. And here we are in the middle of January, and our director of football's contract remains, expires in June. So you, as a business person, would you think that would have been, if you were going to keep him, would you have expected that announcement to have been made so that he's full on recruitment, or do you think the fact it hasn't been done as yet suggests he might be moving on? Lots of people saying, do you think he'll still even be here in the summer? Yeah. I mean, what's your gut feeling?
It's a really interesting one because until you threw into the melting pot announcement,
of course,
yeah, because he might know that he's here for another couple of years. The owners might know he's here for another couple of years.
Do you think that should have been announced, though?
Well, and that's why I say the announcement bit, because he deals with agents and footballers. And if I'm an agent trying to push a player into Everton and Thelwell's saying, no, you're not for us, mate. And I'm thinking, well, you're not going to be here in the summer. I need to talk to somebody else. Yeah. Now, at the moment, who would somebody else be? You might think going over the director of football's head, again, I don't think it should be this, but you go to the CEO. But the CEO isn't going to be here either, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who you might think is the next one up is in California.
How'd you get to him as well?
So it does smack of a little bit of, what are the roles and responsibilities? Who do I talk to, and so on? Which then leads you to conclude, it's not just about bringing players in. What about all the ones who are out of contract? Because at least some of those are going to get new contracts, aren't they? You would think.
I don't know.
I don't know. Me neither. We talked was I on the live yesterday, wasn't I? Perhaps we should go down it, with the old, keep, let go, whatever.
Well, it's this Ghana guy. What would you do?
Another year.
Okay. I would too.
Yeah.
Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Let him go.
Yeah, me too. Mangala.
On the fence. Yeah.
Me too.
So there's your three categories.
There's your midfield.
Yeah,
so you want one of each with there.
Yeah.
Jack Harrison.
Oh, we'll let him go.
Yeah. So there's 4 players. Jesper Lindstrom.
On the fence.
I'm leaning to let him go at the moment.
Me too.
Even though I don't think we've played him where he should.
No, me
David
too.
Moyes. Might change.
You've still got to show something.
So there's 5 lads who are playing in our team. Yeah. James Coleman.
Let him go. As a player.
So there's 6. Ashley Young.
Ooh, we talked about this yesterday.
40. He's 40 next month, isn't he?
Truly objective, outcome-based decision. Let him go.
Okay, so far we're only keeping Adrissa.
Yeah.
And we're on the fence with maybe 2. Armando Broya.
Let him go.
Yeah, so there's 8.
Injury prone.
Michael Keane.
He's the one that might be a dark horse that you think, no, let him go.
Me personally, be gone.
I was just doing the body language on you then.
João Virginia. I don't think he wants to stay, but...
No, he wants to play, doesn't he? But I think if he wanted to stay, we'd keep him because he's steady. Yeah. How old is he?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I absolutely want him to go.
Okay, and Asmir Begovic. Who cares?
Who cares, yeah.
No, but I'm not being disrespectful. What I'm saying is he's number 3. And he's just doing bits and pieces with coaching. So he's
really a coach, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So I look at him and go, I don't really
earn him very much either. So.
Jamie, if he wants to stay as a coach or whatever, then absolutely.
Yeah. So we're basically saying they're all going.
There's about 2 at the 12 there.
Yeah, they're all going, yeah.
That's a huge turnaround.
It is.
Now, people might go, well, we can't lose all of them, so you're going to have to keep Michael Keaton. No, because we got Jake O'Brien. And if Brantwaite's going, then we need another young centre-back who's powerful. Michael Keane, it's done. For him, the lad needs to go and play. His wages are too big. So there has got to be that turnaround. And who is making all of those decisions?
Well,
But the manager will make
point.
all of those decisions now because he's going to play them. He's going to look and go, I'm not interested in him. Now, Breuer, fingers crossed, he's having the scan. Fingers crossed it's not too bad. If it is, he'll be sent back to Chelsea and that'll be that.
And we'll have a slot.
I don't think Everton will go back for him in the summer.
We'll have a slot.
If he's fit, he gets fit. If it's, say, 4 weeks and he's back and he comes back fit and strong and gets a few goals, then that's a conversation near the end of the season where you might go, actually, he's got something we need.
But what happens if you get an offer for Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
I don't think you can let him go. Unless you've got the next one lined up.
That's what I mean.
Do you know what I mean? Everton have gone after Av. Because, like, I like Beto, but if he's not a first choice, is he, Beto? He's a short-term first choice. He can come and do the job. And don't forget, lest we forget, last time David Moyes here, he started
without one.
Started Strachwellesi for 5 games. And he worked brilliantly and ended up with a couple of goals in that as well.
Yeah.
So David Moyes has done it before, but you're looking at it and going, Yusuf Chimiti's injured again. So we've no idea how long that is for. So right now we've got Beto. Dom's fit again. So we've got Dom. And obviously Breuer, we've no idea. Right? But what I would say is right now, you couldn't hang your hat on any of those 4 getting 6 goals for the rest of the season.
No.
Could you? Now they might. Dom could easily do it. Beto could. He scored the other night. He might get them. Chimiti hasn't scored a goal yet for Everton. There's a young player, loads of potential. And Breuer, hasn't scored 6 in the season for a while. So therefore, if you had Everton were linked with Yuri Alberto against today, Brazilian striker. So 31 goals, I think, in 2024, because that's how they do their season. 23 years of age, who's not quick, but he knows where the net is. So if you were saying, well, we might go and get Alberto if we sell Dom, then you might go, okay, the lads put the ball in the net a lot. But then you're still going, can he do it here, though? Can he score the goals when we're going to need them to be scored? What would we get for Dom? If someone offers 20 million for Calvert-Lewin, maybe Everton go, we have to take it. We're getting nothing in 4 months for him, and we can get 20 million pure profit. Well, that only works if Everton have identified the next fella to, I know Everton have made an inquiry about Evan Ferguson on loan, but I don't think Brighton are going to let him out. So therefore, he ain't coming. So therefore, who else can we go and buy?
So, let's say you keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What are you going to get? Doesn't score goals.
Yeah, but he might do with a different manager, mightn't he?
But he might.
And a different style. No, I know. This is what I'm saying. This is the flip of the coin. If Chimiti's fit and Breuer was fit and Beto was here,
take the risk.
I'd take the risk and let him go.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying now is, look, we had 4 strikers in the squad against Forest 2 weeks ago. We had 1 on Thursday. Well, no, sorry. We look like we might only have 1 tomorrow. Now, Dom's back, which is good news. So we'll have 50% of our available strikers.
Where's Chimiti at?
Dyche didn't say that he's Sean Dyche last week.
No one asked yesterday.
He went, he's a while away.
Yeah.
So whatever's happened, he's injured again. That's not good.
Oh, that was just a stock response to I don't play fellas who are young, maybe.
Because I think he did like Chimiti. I can't be too critical on him over that. I think he did like Chimiti.
But it's a sad state of affairs, which is the point, because, again, when we talk on here, those decisions should have been made before the window opens.
Listen, Kevin Thelwell might go, we've got this player lined up if Dom goes.
Yeah.
And he'll come in and score goals, whatever. I don't know. He might have. Who knows? And that's fine, because that's exactly what you should have.
But if we're living in a world where, if you like, his recommendations have been shared with the ownership, and they're saying, we'll get back to you. And they get back to us in 3 weeks. If you don't get answers to decisions, you end up with what you've got, don't you? And
we haven't even got an Ellis Sims or a Tom Cannon in the 21s.
There's no academy person.
Omari Benjamin's nice and bright, but he's not ready to play. Martin Sheriff's nowhere near ready, and that's it. Really. And Braden Graham's not ready, is he? A young kid. So, Leon on the Super Chat says, how much are you giving? He's obviously a West Ham fan. Hello, Leon. How much are you giving us for Souček? Moyes loves him. I don't think we're coming for Souček, to be fair, mate. Although he has done a good job for West Ham. I know he's it's sort of diminishing returns, not to what he was, but I think that's done, Leon.
I think Leon's just hoping to
possibly
take this guy off our hands, please.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And Mads on the super chat, thank you, says, are you all excited about Ernest Nuamar rumours? Seen him at Norgeland, and he's very, very good. Fast and a little like NJ. Yeah, I think he'd... listen, he's been okay at Leon. I think he's got huge potential, but it's doing it. It's getting a final ball out of him. It's getting him scoring more goals. I think he's only got 1 and 1 assist this season in 16 appearances, which is not great.
Pace is disruptive,
but the pace is we haven't got a dynamic player.
Yeah, pace is disruptive.
And that would really help us. We'll see. We will see.
Needs to get Dwight McNeil back on the pitch, don't we? Never thought I'd say that.
Do we?
Yeah, I think so.
For set pieces?
Yeah. Can cross the ball.
Sure, Moyes are playing, to be honest. But hey ho. Gary Ward says, howdy. Harry James Tattoo says, happy second Headlock Gate anniversary.
Yeah.
Gary Ward does indeed say howdy. Evan Viking says, I'm strangely excited about going forward now. Moyes seemed confident on getting some players through the door too. Hope we can pick up points quickly and move away from the bottom 3 ASAP. Yeah, Dan says, gents, it was really refreshing to hear a manager speak with such passion and drive like Moyes did yesterday. His statement of wanting elite players for an elite stadium was nice to hear.
It was.
Have you heard anything regarding transfer targets? Let's move forward. Support the team. We can change our fortune starting tomorrow. That is really important. But the other thing to sort of remember is, and do not allow this to go flat, is that Villa are a really good side. So it's almost more, it's always about results, but if it didn't go the way we want it to, we need to see a performance, we need to see effort, we need to see them battling and sticking together and creating chances. If it's one of those days and Villa are just better than us on the day, because they are better than us anyway, then we have to lick our wounds and be ready for Spurs. Hopefully it goes the other way and we have the dream scenario where you get enough, you win the game, chances come your way, Villa are just a little bit off it, you're right on it, you get the win, and we all celebrate for a few days. But this is more than just tomorrow, isn't it?
Totally.
Got half a season.
We can talk about recent games where you could go down a list of the players and say there's not a lot in it. The other team are just that, a much better team. But Villa are player for player better.
Yeah.
There's probably Branthwaite, and that's it, isn't it, who would get in
probably,
there.
Probably.
So player for player, they're better, and they're a better team. But Goodison, under the lights, fantastic fan base, players all doing that little bit more. A more progressive manager, albeit people might think he's defensive-minded, but on a scale, he's way towards the entertaining end compared to the previous manager, and so on. So let's just see what comes. But you're right. First off, a performance that gives promise. That cloud has been lifted a little bit. And who knows?
But that's all it can be.
We led 2-0 against this lot at their own place, right? So, we know we can do stuff even if we had good fortune last time. Well, maybe we'll get good fortune tomorrow and we'll close it out. Who knows?
If you look at it, you've got to look at it and go, well, that's all you can look for.
Absolutely.
All you can look for is going out, giving everything you've got and seeing what the outcome is. Yeah. Because it's too early, really, to... Moyes can instill it, can get the bounce, get the crowd behind it, but it's going to play out a little bit.
Of course it has, yeah.
And so we've got to readjust, but it'd be amazing if we could just start with a really positive result. It'd settle everybody like that.
Certainly would.
Don't forget, Bruges, Villa are miles better than Club Bruges, like miles better in the Champions League, and Club Bruges beat them. So they're not unbeatable by any stretch, the imagination.
No one is, are they?
No.
Really,
and we proved that when Sean Dyche came in.
Yeah. Chelsea,
we beat Arsenal.
Arsenal,
who were flying at the top of the league. We beat them. So that's we can do it. But Frank Lampard's first game, we had Brentford at home in the FA Cup. We battered them 4-1. When we haven't been doing anything, it can happen. It can happen. So we've got to just get behind work hard and see what happens. GSD says, can you feel that? It's like a weight off our shoulders being lifted by optimism and hope. It's quite amazing. Up the Moisey Toffees. Yeah. Harrison Darby says, I thought we were told before the season that Leicester were going to get a points deduction, and now they're not. Supposed to be 9 points, wasn't it?
Don't know.
Bit mad. Bit weird.
If you read the legal side of it, then the Premier League had to find a way to overcome the jurisdiction issue, and that's gone to arbitration, and they haven't had a result yet.
It does still say it's under the thingy.
Ultimately, they had to have been members of one of the leagues. You know what I mean?
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Everton Viking says, hope he can foster the same team spirit and determination he had last time. Could be difficult. Which players you think benefit most from Moyes coming in and which benefit least? Genuinely think Beto could be his version of Marcus Bent. And if you play to Beto's strength, you can get more goals out of him than Dom, despite Dom being much better technically. Think the core eight may struggle in a Moyes team and long-term McNeil.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. I think Beto can benefit. I think Patterson will benefit.
Yeah.
It's up to the others. It's up to everybody to benefit, isn't it? Clean slate, go out and do it.
They all have
got a reset.
chance, yeah.
You've got the chance to reset, and it's not like we're Southampton.
No,
we're not in the bottom three, so you've got a chance to reset. Juan says hello there. Hello, Juan. Leary EFC says, all right, lads, I couldn't watch a single one of Dyche's press conference in the end, talking about doom and gloom. It's been terrible since before I got here, when he's had nearly 2 years to sort it out. To Moyes talking about looking up the table and accountability of forward players and actually being positive. It's a breath of fresh air. We'll hopefully get a shot on target tomorrow.
Yeah. He also read more of the dictionary, didn't he? Because he got down to W and was saying we quite a lot. Yeah.
It was refreshing. Some people go, oh, it wasn't that important when Dyche, not what Moyes said, but when you'd say it about Dyche, that's not important. It's massively important.
Massive.
It's like massively. You've got to feel connected, and you've got to feel as though your manager is in with you. He's in on it. You're all part of the same cause. And it never felt like that with Sean Dyche. He might just not have been able to feel like that about Everton. That's just the way it is. Personalities or whatever. But, to me, you have to make everybody convinced that you're all in for the same cause. And that's what he did.
Absolutely.
But again, it's easy to talk the talk, isn't it? The work starts now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so you've got to go and do it.
The point is you have to, if you've got to walk the talk, right, then you've got to do the talk first.
Yeah.
And the talk that the previous manager was doing was typically negative. There's no illusion here. We're not going to become world beaters.
No.
You could give Moyes till this time next year, and we might not be world beaters because we don't know who we may or may not bring in. But we can expect each and every player to perform a bit better than they have been. And the collective team itself, therefore, would be a little bit better than it has been. And we know, because the number of games we've had against teams who, right up to and including high-flying in comparison with us, there's not a lot between all of them, right, on their day. You just want your day to be more regularly than once every blue moon, don't you? So, Southampton excluded, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Everton Vikings says also a question for you both. I wasn't around in the 80s, but I do like to watch the interviews, documentaries, as much as I can about that era. I was watching an interview with O'Neill today, and having watched many documentaries about football in that era, it made me wonder. We were one of the best teams in that era, so why did we never attempt to appoint anyone like Clough or Robson after Kendall left? It seems like such an odd choice of replacements after him. Did you and fans question it at the time, or was it just assumed the replacements would have done well? I know there was mitigating circumstances around it, such as ban from Europe, but surely we still could have attracted higher profile managers.
Well, Robson was on the agenda at one stage.
Tried to get Robson 4 times, I think. Just never happened.
I think at the time, and when you think, we weren't one of the best teams around at the time. We were the best team around at the time, weren't we, in many respects? And it was also very much the guys across the park. They had a very succession-based approach. Yeah. And it looked, I guess, to the ownership at the time that Howard going because he wanted to do Europe and try something, and Colin had been his long-standing right-hand man, and it seemed to make sense that he would just roll into the job.
Because that's what Liverpool did, didn't it?
And that's because that's what the other lot used to do. But yeah, little minor turns on the road made a big difference, didn't they?
Yeah.
And of course, once the players start coming to end of contracts and all want to play in Europe and end up crying out loud, pretty much world-class players going to play in Scotland simply because that's where you can play in Europe when you can't in this country, and so on and so forth. And then it all went south, didn't it? For a long time, as a consequence.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because there was a belief. There was a belief that succession, promotion within was the right way to do everything, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
We were never going to appoint Brian Clough.
No.
Because coming towards the end of the 80s, early 90s, he was on the dip then, wasn't he? Peter Taylor left and he was on the wane. Bobby Robson was England manager, then obviously went off to abroad, didn't he, as well, managed abroad. So it was a bit different then as well. It was more about the club. And if you look at a lot of managers, high profile managers, they were after the England job.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Liverpool, they had Shankly, then they had Paisley,
and then
they had Joe Fagan, then they had Kenny.
Yeah.
Dalglish, then they had Graham Souness, Roy Evans, Houllier. You know, Roy Evans, so that right the way through from sort of Bill Shankly to Roy Evans, every one of them was an internal promotion.
Yeah. And then they split the job.
Then they got Houllier and split the job because it was Houllier, he was always going
to the politics, yeah.
Then they got Rafa Benitez. Then they had Hodgson. They binned him and got Dalglish back, didn't they?
Yeah.
And all of that. So if you look at it that way, United had Alex Ferguson.
Forever
and ever, amen, from 1986 till 2013. Arsenal had people like George Graham, who'd played for them. You know, they had Bruce Rioch, they tried, didn't they? Terry Neal had played for them.
Yeah.
Don Howard played for them. Yeah. You know, that was how football was in them days. It was all.
We had Catrick before our days.
We had Catrick, Billy Bingham, ex-player. Howard Kendall, Colin Harvey. It was all ex-players. So that was how it was. Villa had Ron Saunders, who was an Evertonian.
Atkinson was in there.
But he was ex-Villa. They had Big Ron from Old Swan and things like that. Spurs had a lot of ex-Spurs involved, didn't he?
Nicholson.
That was way before me. But they had like Keith Birkinshaw and they had Steve Henshaw.
Yeah.
Ozzy dealers and people like that. It was just the way it was. Most of it were ex-players, wasn't it?
A lot more characters around as well.
More characters, and it was just that's kind of how it was, though, wasn't it? So it was when you looked at all that. Ron Saunders, Villa was brilliant, wasn't he? When you looked at all of that, the teams in them days, if you think about it, most of them were ex-players.
Yeah.
Who went on to be coaches and got it, and that was how you did it. So it wasn't really, there was no one really going and grabbing these managers from elsewhere. In fact, when we went and got Mike Walker, that was like a big sea change. That Everton had gone and got this fella. He was nothing to do with Everton. He was okay, he was doing all right, he was doing well at Norwich, but then we still reverted back to Joe Royle, who was an ex-player.
Yeah.
You know, and then we got Howard Kendall, who was an ex-manager and player and manager.
And then Colin.
Then we went to Walter.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we? Yeah, Colin. We went to Walter.
Yeah. Oh, you meant when Howard come back again?
You know, when Howard come back and then we went to Royal and then, you know, Walker, then to Royal, then back to Howard.
Yeah.
Then it was Mike Walker, then it was Moyes.
That's right, yeah. Forever, sort of, yeah.
So it was a, you know, when Liverpool got Benitez, it was like, wow, they've gone and got this fella from Spain. What? Because a lot of people were like foreign coaches. All right, even though Wenger was seen as unbelievable, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Ranieri came into Chelsea. They'd had like Hullett and they'd had to go with Zola. Ranieri was like a class above. Chelsea were the first real ones with Arsenal to go and venture in that market, weren't they?
They were.
Because Chelsea they'd had Glenn Hoddle, hadn't he? Which is England. Yeah. So it's just a different time, mate.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
All pre-badges and stuff. You know?
Yeah. That was when you'd just go,
Let's give Baz the job.
Yeah, he sounds like, you know, he's doing all right, yeah. Barry says when Joe Royle came in a similar situation, he managed to get far better performance from underperforming players. Which players do you guys think David Moyes will improve the most? My tip is Jack Harrison, but providing he plays him on the left. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's squeezing out the most of players. some managers are weathered going, they can only play on the right-hand side for me. Jack Harrison example, where Bielsa had them doing performing at a high level, playing on the left. Moyes might go, I want to try him over there.
Yeah.
Just get him on the left foot crossing. He's not really skillful. He's not got blistering pace, but he's got a decent left foot. Can weigh in with a goal every now and again, although he's forgotten how to score at the moment. But let's try him there.
Small differences will make small differences.
You might say, Njai, go and play on the right. He might say to Njai, play off the striker.
Yeah.
He might say to Njai, actually, you're my Stephen Pienaar. But then you'd need a raiding left back going beyond them, so we'll see. Martin says, afternoon, Baz and John, does this mean we can spend this month if we're not close to PSR?
Well, we can financial year now.
We can spend this month anyway.
Yeah,
no problem, mate. We have up until the 30th of June to correct this year. So theoretically, and I'm not sure Everton and the Friedkin group would want to do this, but Everton could, in theory, go, we're spending 80 million quid because we'll sell Jarrod Branthwaite on June the 29th to Man City for 80 million quid. I'm being simplistic here. But because that's how long we've got to correct our ills right now. But we're already 28 million in, if you're just doing player trading, of course. Clearly, we
don't know what's going on.
We don't know what else is there, but there is money to spend this month for Everton anyway, regardless of today's news. There always has been money to spend this month. Mightn't be huge, but it's money with down payments. 20 million can go a far way, isn't it? With amortisation and stuff, so... Astro says reunited and it feels so good. It's like Astro. Also says, apologies if this has been asked, but who do you feel will have the last word in transfers this January, Thelwell or Moyes?
I think we talked about that before. If Thelwell's staying, it should be Thelwell, right? But they have to work as a double act anyway. But if the manager, which he is, sitting on at least a couple of years' contract, and the director of football's going in 4 or 5... You could argue the director of football, if he's not staying, he goes as soon as the window's shut, doesn't he? So we'll know in a couple of weeks, maybe. But, you've got to get players that the manager's going to play. But by the same token, you can't mortgage the future just to satisfy the whims of short-termism, really. So it's a difficult one.
Well, what do you think? And what would you do? What would you do? Because I think the Friedkin group, from what we can take from like Roma, is they want players 23 and under.
Absolutely.
To develop. Well, David Moyes will want a bit of both, I think. So it's whether he can convince them. Doesn't mean every player you buy is 23 and younger.
No.
Because it never works like that.
You need a balance.
Ever simplistic.
You need a balance.
So you've got to buy players who we know that we can develop. And he has done that, in all fairness. He has done it at West Ham.
You can't, in my opinion, bring in players in this January window who get a 2.5 year contract, who you're buying their use for the next 6 months, say, by giving them a 2+ year contract. Yeah. So this is why the loan market is so much more helpful, isn't it? Because you don't mind bringing in, and maybe that's how you try and do it. But if we've got our backs against the wall on slots and stuff, but any players who you're going to buy permanently now have to be players that you're still going to be using in a year's time. Yeah. And anyone who you need to hold it up with experience or whatever, they're the ones that ideally need to be done in a loan or short-term contract type of thing. And if you look desperate, then agents will leg you over, won't they? So it's a difficult one, but it wouldn't be difficult if the director of football would just sign a new 3-year contract, would it, or whatever. I think he might go. I think he might go as well. Therefore, you tip your hat to the manager, because if the manager is going to be here for a couple of years, then you say, well, you picked that goddamn player in January 2025. You know? Stop whinging. You've got to hold people accountable for decisions that they make. So.
Patrick Hanlon says, what about Richarlison?
What about him?
He obviously wants him. The only way we're getting Richarlison is if we got him on loan, and we haven't got a loan slot. So maybe if Breuer isn't going to be back,
and he can go back
and
to
Everton
Chelsea.
can terminate that loan, maybe they could go and get Richarlison on loan. They're not paying for Richarlison. Would anyone pay for Richarlison at the moment? You don't know whether he can stay fit. So I'd love him, don't get me wrong, but No point if he can't stay fit. James says, is McNeil not our best performing player, statistically? Well, he is, from taking corners and free kicks. He's special teams, isn't he? The open play stuff. He's done all right, don't get me wrong, he's done okay. But you've got to work hard to play for David Moyes. And there's no free passes. He got a free pass with Sean Dyche because he could take a corner. But he won't get that with Moyes. Therefore, if he gets in and plays well and stays in, brilliant. I'd love that. I'd just look at it and go, I'm just not sure. I think he might end up being like a left back or a left wing back. Dwight McNeil, I just don't think he's not quick enough to play higher up the pitch, in my opinion. He's better in the 10 if you're going to play him, because he can shoot and all that, but he's going to have to get himself fit and show the manager that he deserves to play and stay in the team. And he won't stay in the team by jogging about the pitch and then doing that stupid run for 30 seconds where he runs after 3 players and leaves big gaps behind him and then does nothing else, and people stand up and clap like as if it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen. You have to do that all day for David Moyes. But if he gets in the team and performs, brilliant. He's got a lovely left foot on him. How do we get the most out of it in the most effective area and make sure he contributes all the time? That's Dwight McNeil's key. Can he do it? He couldn't do it. He's done all right for Sean Dyche. Couldn't do it for Frank. Frank had him in and then left him out because he wasn't doing the work or just didn't look very good. Is he one of those players who has to play for Sean Dyche because he trusts him and Dyche trusts him? I don't know. Let's hope he does really well, though, and we're not even having that, because I want every player who's in our squad to be brilliant and be the best he can be. So that's all we can ask for, isn't it?
Yeah, if you were going through the whole squad in a sunny day plan, he'd be on your sell list.
Yeah.
If you can. You can get, because he's a squad player at best, isn't he, really?
It just depends how we move, doesn't it? We want to move to having fast, dynamic, skillful footballers.
Then he doesn't qualify.
So that's why I'm saying further back with that left foot. If we play 3 at the back, as in a left wing back, whipping them balls in for Dom's head, but being encouraged to do that, giving that little bit more space, starting from higher up the pitch, running, creating, and then getting it wide. Michalenko got into great areas last week.
Just can't do it.
Final balls, just not very good.
Yeah.
Nick says, I think Seamus will have a bit of a nudge to Moyes to give Patterson a run, as I think Moyes would be more approachable for someone like Seamus. Regardless of the opposition, we must look much more on the front foot when Patterson has minutes.
True.
We do. Bainey says, just shows the inconsistent behaviour of the Premier League. Leicester behaved in a similar fashion to Forest, and the same should apply. The way Chelsea got away with it, let's face it, the Premier League is simply corrupt. We'll never forgive them for what they put us and Forest through to a lesser level. Well, there's no others were guilty, just easy targets. No, Mike Barrett, not even reading that out, because I don't want to sign him. Danny says we need a goal scorer and pace on the wings first to have, but we have to start creating chances from open play. Blue Joey says we need proven goal scorers to hit the ground running. Friedkin needs to flash the cash. Astro says, if memory serves, Moyes pretty much ran the whole show during his first tenure. Are we expecting him to bring the same style of doing business back, and do you think it'd work? No, I don't think he can. I think it's moved on. And I think the Friedkin's like the director of football model. I don't think would he have the energy to go and watch a game every single night and watch players 10 times before he signed them now? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. And I also think
I don't want him to do that.
Yeah, the whole point of the director of football model, we call it that, is he or she is the chief exec of the sporting side. So it's all about owning relationships with agents, knowing what the right commercial terms are, getting deals over the line financially, blah, blah, blah. When actually the manager or head coach, his job is to get given a group of players and get the best out of them. Yeah. Now, clearly you consult and inform between the two, but they're different jobs now. Yeah. And it is the right way. Just because we've done it badly doesn't mean it's not the right way, does it?
Everton Viking says, just don't see the desperation to keep Dom. If someone comes in, sell him. You just need to replace 2 to 7 goals. Plenty of strikers can do that. Got to get them first, that's all I'm saying. If you get one lined up, brilliant. Matt Gibson says, afternoon, gents. Today is still as wonderful as yesterday. Let's go and add in the final third. Get our width for the remainder of the season. Patterson right back, and Young left back. Tom says, "Hi lads, watching from snowy northern Finland, having a few days break in the snow. Had you not had enough here?" There, aren't we? Just catching up with all the Moyes stuff. I have to say, I'm more relaxed about the future now. The name Moyes doesn't stress me like Dykes did. I wish him all the best. Yeah. Bainey says, "We've always got Keane up front, lol." And Buck says, "Dogs of war tomorrow night. Nothing less will do." Yeah. Run, chase, kick, harry, everything tomorrow. Get the crowd engaged, get shots away early on.
Score first.
Crosses, get in front. And you've got the opportunity to get the 3 points. Right, we are going to have a quick break. Me and James are going to be doing more than a game in about 6 minutes. You don't have to go anywhere. All you have to do, your job is simply to get a drink, get a snack, and be ready on more than a game. You don't have to go nowhere. Stay on this, leave this on, and boom, it is sorted. Canna, just very quickly. Baz, I need more from McNeil. I hope and believe he could do something. John, just sell him. And he's done laughing faces. Yeah, fair play. Fair play. Me sort of saying I need more from him. He's got to produce.
I've decided, yeah.
He's got to produce. Right, we'll see you in 6 minutes.
Take care, people.